Dinosaurs used to dominate the planet millions of years ago, yet everyone living today has only seen them through a mere electronic screen, and we can only speculate what these majestic creatures were like. However, what if there was a way in which these animals such as these, woolly mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, and more could coexist with our current ecosystem? This may be fantasy, but with modern revolutions in genetics and cloning, this may be a highly possible future. But the only question remains, is this the right thing to do?
Article titled De-Extinction, Can We Bring Extinct Animals Back from the Dead by the BBC Science Focus magazine outlines the pros, cons, ethics, and plausibility of the cloning of extinct animals. Scientist Helen Pilcher outlines the efforts made by scientists all around the globe, starting in 2003 with the cloning of the Pyrenean ibex. It's just 2021, the cloning of the black-footed ferret, which had been extinct for 30 years.
Many extinct animals have successfully been cloned, and while they aren't exactly the same as their extinct species, they retain many genetic characteristics of their species. These animals will look like their extinct species, but realistically, it is merely an animal living today that has had its DNA altered. Pilcher states that, when lost animals are returned, so too are the jobs they once performed. For example, woolly mammoths were very beneficial to the landscape, but when they disappeared, biodiversity plummeted, and the lush areas where they once lived slowly became dry tundras. This is the same for other animals, and the de-extinction can enhance biodiversity and save failing ecosystems. However, Pilcher also claims that some people believe cloning is unnatural, and that scientists should not play God by choosing the life and death situations of other species. Additionally, many believe that de-extinction will take away scientists' focus of preserving current species that are endangered. All in all, it is a controversial topic that would highly benefit humans or end up disrupting our whole ecosystem.
So, what does it mean when we say de-extinction?
De-extinction is not necessarily bringing the exact replica of the creature, but reintroduces the behavior and physical qualities almost like the original. To do this, you need an ideal candidate, which is the closest living organism, and alter the DNA via gene editing. This will then give birth to a doppelganger of a species that had vanished from the face of the earth. Gene editing is when the core components of DNA are added, removed, or replaced in an organism, changing the phenotypes of it.
There are many different ways to carry out de-extinction, the most popular method being cloning. Cloning is the act of producing an organism with a virtually identical DNA as another organism. In terms of cloning extinct species, it is done by first extracting a nucleus from a preserved somatic cell belonging to an extinct animal and putting it into the cytoplasm of an enucleated egg of the extinct species' closest relative. After this, the egg is inserted into a living animal of the extinct species' closest relative, which is known as the host animal. Once inside, the nucleus is reprogrammed by the egg's cytoplasmic factors, which turns it into a zygote nucleus, or a fertilized egg. Once further developed, embryonic stem cells are produced, which allow for the extinct species' closest relative to give birth to a child, which retains the genetic traits of the extinct species.
This process is known as somatic cell nuclear transfer and has been used for years to create organisms with specific genetic traits.
This discovery gives us the power of what some would say is God. It allows us to reverse extinction, which we could have only have dreamt of.
This means humans can undo all the harm they have done to the world, from hunting animals to extinction, or killing them as a result of climate change and deforestation. It is proven to be shown that if some animals return, then there could be a bloom in biodiversity and life on the ecosystem.
Finally, extinction rates are 1,000 times worse than pre-human era, with 30 to 150 species going extinct every day. By cloning extinct species, we can bring back animals vital to our ecosystem and solve our lack of biodiversity.
Cloning animals could easily prove to be very helpful to humans, animal species, ecosystems across the world, and more.
The cloning of extinct animals will provide scientists with efficient data on human growth and repairment, and also greatly increase the likelihood of organ transplants.
Over 100,000 people are on a waiting list for organ transplants, and cloning extinct animals will give scientists information and research on using cloning to help with organ transplants. Additionally, cloning extinct animals will heavily help currently endangered species. In Brazil, for example, scientists are filling zoos with cloned animals, rather than taking animals from the wild, which has so far resulted in 1,000 endangered species gaining stable populations. However, Cloning extinct animals could heavily affect many currently living animal species quite negatively. To illustrate, it takes about $1 million to clone just a singular extinct animal which might not even live for a full lifetime. Scientists justify this cost by saying that it increases Earth's biodiversity. But what about the currently endangered species on Earth? Couldn't this money be used to preserve species that are endangered instead? There are more than 16,000 endangered species, with 10,000 to 100,000 species going extinct within the last year, and in decades, only 25 extinct species have been cloned. Is this trade-off worth it? In the end, cloning extinct animals will impact not only humans, but all species of the world. Reintroducing extinct species into a successfully operating ecosystem could have very unpredictable effects, affecting our biodiversity, genetic understanding, ecological advancements, and more. Cloning extinct species may cause endangered animals to die out due to lack of conservation funds and more competition, and many people, such as hunters and fishers, will be affected. Only $210 million has been spent to help endangered species within the last 3 years, but over $1 billion has been spent to help clone extinct animals. Cloning extinct animals has had a detrimental effect on the endangered species of our world, and it will undoubtedly be affected even worse in the future.
As a different world-changing scientific advancements, there are always major questions raised by scientists, as we understand this powerful technology.
Firstly, why should environmental funding be placed upon de-extinction rather than placing it on conservation efforts on the animals currently alive? Scientists claim that cloning could prove to be a major asset to biodiversity, but it may be better to directly fund animal conservation. Then we have the issue of the animal's health. Would the offspring clone be as healthy as they should be? Scientists state that the species will go through an initial health check before being released back into the wild. However, there are still issues, such as the cloned Pyrenean ibex, which was the first cloned extinct animal, but it wasn't long until it became the first animal to be extinct twice. Next, we have the discussion of the environmental issues, such as where would extinct animals live if their former habitat is no longer suitable for it? Scientists have stated that if the animal's former habitat is gone, then they would move the animals to a similar one. However, the wild habitats on Earth are slowly dwindling due to urbanization and other factors, so this might be hard. Furthermore, there might be a natural imbalance due to this extra stress on organisms. The world has rapidly changed since the extinct animals died out, so there may be some issues reintroducing them. To add on, the possibility that the resurrected animal can be an invasive species still looms, which could have the power to topple an entire functioning ecosystem, such as how cane toads and crazy yellow ants destroyed Australia's ecosystem. Then there is a social issue, which is how reviving extinct species will impact humans. It could potentially threaten our current way of life, as if animals which are noted dangerous are reintroduced in the wild, they could have a negative impact on humans. Is it safe for us to live alongside these reintroduced organisms? Finally, we have the main dilemma of whether it is ethical to bring back species of animals from the dead. Pilcher claims that the people believe that this is an unnatural and almost like playing God by resurrecting dead species, and that humans have no right to that power. Ultimately, issues such as these are all factors in whether it is ethical to bring back species from the dead. Scientists don't know whether they could do more harm than good to both the ecosystem and us, and what costs we are sacrificing to get there. This all plays a role in determining if we should begin making animals arise from extinction.
Although we have started to clone extinct animals, there are still many questions about the future and effects of this revolutionary idea. The main worry is how Earth's current species will be able to adapt and connect with potential extinct species. Introducing a new species has shown to have catastrophic effects, such as invasive ants in Australia, which killed other species of ants. If new species were to be introduced, the likes of which scientists have never seen before, will they end up destroying our operating ecosystem? Another question is whether the de-extinct animals would have any genetic problems or defects, and if these could be passed through to similar species through crossbreeding. Not enough extinct animals have been cloned for scientists to fully understand the potential consequences that these new species may face, and any genetic mutations or issues that may happen. Can cost up to $1 million, without even a guarantee that it will be fully healthy. Cloned extinct animals have approximately a 34% shorter lifespan than their relative species. Is cloning an extinct animal that may not even be able to survive for long worth this amount of money? Is it really more beneficial than using this money to prevent the extinction of other species? On this issue, and we will never know for sure how beneficial cloning extinct animals will be until they are fully reintroduced into our ecosystem.
All in all, the cloning of extinct animals is still a very new and controversial idea, and scientists still don't have enough experience to label it as beneficial or harmful. While living among dinosaurs may never be a reality, many species which we thought we had seen the last of may soon appear all around us. Soon, all of our lives will shift as new species begin to roam around our ecosystems, and all we can do is hope that they will benefit our biodiversity and environment.
Soon, all of our lives will shift as new species begin to roam around our ecosystems, and all we can do is hope that they will benefit our biodiversity and our environment.